Hello, I'm Mark Dujsik of MarkReviewsMovies.com.
And I'm Brett Arnold of Yahoo Entertainment and the New Flesh podcast. And this is At the Movies Again, formerly Roger Ebert and Me, a weekly movie review podcast tribute to Siskel and Ebert, hosted by two film critics who have already introduced themselves. We cover every new theatrical release and every new streaming release every week. That is the goal. Mark does a better job at doing that than I do. If you go to that website, markreviewsmovies.com, you will find, I believe, 12 reviews today. And on this podcast today, there are 8 movies because I'm a slacker. But we do, 8 movies a week is nothing to shake a stick at, okay? Stop yelling at me. These are the voices in my head. Nobody's mad at me. We release the show every Friday, and it's just us doing movie reviews in the iconic format pioneered by Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. But you guys already know that. This week's main event is Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic starring Jafar Jackson, his nephew. A very strange movie with a lot of history behind the script to screen transition, which we can talk about if we want to. Apex, a Netflix thriller, I guess, but it's not very thrilling, with Charlize Theron and Taron Egerton. Mother Mary, a David Lowery film. I don't know what else to call it. I'll call it that. Over Your Dead Body, a comedy, a very dark action comedy, I guess, with Jason Segel and Samara Weaving. We've got Desert Warrior, a Saudi Arabia produced blockbuster, a very expensive looking movie starring Anthony Mackie and Sharlto Copley in 7th Century Arabia. We've got Fuze, a movie about a World War II bomb that's about to go off, but it's also a heist movie. I Swear, the movie at the center of the BAFTAs incident about a guy with Tourette's. And then Omaha, just a fucking bummer of a movie that is going to get recommended despite its bummer status, starring John Magaro, which the less said about the better. Anything to say, Mark, before we get rolling?
Nope, I am all good and ready to go.
Okay, rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave comments on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers.
We have a lot from last week to cover.
Do we? Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. All right, let's get into it then. The first movie of the week is Michael. Here's the trailer.
Just have all these songs in my head.
Don't wanna be a boy, you wanna be a man.
Just gotta get them out.
You wanna stay alive, better do what you can. So beat it, just beat it. I love you. Don't stop till you get it.
I'm just getting started.
So you wanna be starting something?
There's no one like you.
Got to be starting something.
This is.
I feel that you kind of have to talk about the history of the script to screen to talk about this movie, because it helps explain why you're kind of watching half of a movie, because there clearly is a part 2 planned for this, even though that wasn't initially how it was supposed to have gone. I don't know how much into the trades you've read, Mark, but this script, basically what happened was the third act of this movie initially did get to the allegations that are eventually made against Michael Jackson that involve child molestation. And what happened was the specific case that they wrote into the movie, they found some contract after the fact, some court documents or some settlement documents that essentially said, we signed this paper and agreeing to have never be in a movie that is made about Michael Jackson. And it's just like someone fucked up where they did include that in the script initially and they filmed it, and then they found out later that they couldn't include it. So they rewrote the movie and did 22 days of reshoots, which people think that the next movie will be the reshoots, and it will somehow address the elephant in the room that this movie does not. But that happening kind of reveals, it just makes this movie uninteresting because there's no like drama to it. It's all just kind of Like these movies usually depict the rise and fall of somebody. It's like all the rise of Michael Jackson. There is a narrative about like he's trying to escape the shadow of his abusive father kind of thing. And it works well enough, I guess, in that sense, but I needed that context to help explain what happened here because it just feels so cobbled together. But it's also just playing the hits, right? It feels like at a certain point this movie just became the fans want to hear the music, let's give it to them, and it doesn't get it. There's nothing beyond that. So I don't know. It's a very strange experience because he's such a pop icon that we all know, and yes, we know his music, but we also know a lot more, and the movie doesn't get into any of it. So it just feels like it's just the most estate approved Michael Jackson family rehab project that it is, you know?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sold on the whole thing about the reshooting. It just feels like a thing that was set up to just be about Michael's entire story. I don't even know. I don't want to get into that stuff because it's confusing and it doesn't quite add up. That why would they be making that movie if they don't want to address it at all, as this movie doesn't, and it goes out of its way to avoid, and it turns Michael into a very specific version of himself when it does kind of talk about hinting at Neverland and him interacting with children. It is very much setting up a narrative. And I'm confused. I'm a little confused by people who are like, why doesn't this movie address the allegations? Like, do you really want this particular movie with this particular setup, the way that it is framed, to address those allegations? Because I don't think that movie will do it any justice if it was trying to do it. I'm almost happy it doesn't do it. I'm kind of in the opposite.
But doesn't it set up the next movie to then be like all about that? And it's like, well, that doesn't sound fun.
No, it doesn't. I don't.
Well, I guess there's a lot of careers still.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused. The logic of it doesn't make any sense. Why would the family who's trying to avoid this stuff?
Well, I can tell you
that in the movie
because I saw the play that is also there's a I think a Tony-winning MJ play that's on Broadway still right now, and I went and saw it out of morbid curiosity to see like how they handle things. And apparently this was how they were going to handle the movie too. The play brings up, it essentially just vilifies the media and says the media was out to get him.
That's what I'm saying. Do you really want this movie to do that?
That's what it was going to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So maybe it's better. Maybe it's better than it does. Yeah.
That's my argument is it's for the best for this particular movie, which is just about his rise to stardom and about the songs mostly. Almost entirely about the songs.
Yeah, really. The songs are fantastic. So
yes, and that's the point of the movie.
I'm popping my head and tapping my toe when they're on.
Exactly. I'm kind of glad it doesn't get there because I do think if they're going to make a sequel, obviously it sets it up right at the end. Very big shock in the theater that everyone's like, wait, it's over now and there's going to be more. Like, yep, that's what's going to happen.
Also clunkily handled at the end there because I'm assuming most people don't know that it's about to be a part 2, and it doesn't say like Michael part 2 coming next year. It says his story continues, which is like
it could be taken very vaguely.
It could be taken in any number of ways. It's also like it's very confusing. They could have just said we are planning on part 2 coming out next year, thank you. Goodbye. But it ends where it does. It ends with the bad tour, right?
Yeah, it does. It's at Wembley Stadium in 89, I think. I don't remember.
I remember the last, like 88.
Maybe it's 88. I think the tour lasted a couple of years, so I think it's 88.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, he went fucking everywhere. He was the biggest star ever.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the movie is about. It's about Michael Jackson becoming the biggest star in the world and making all that great music. And it's, again, almost entirely about the music. There are sections of this movie where it just goes from one song to the next with very little narrative. It's all montage. It's all just kind of jumping back and forth in time. I can't remember what song because there are so many, but he's recording one song in the studio and it cuts to him recording the song, to him marketing the song, to him performing the song, and it goes back and forth between all of those things. It's like the song is the point. The songs are the point of this entire movie. And the rest of it is just formulaic biography stuff. It's everything that you've seen from Bohemian Rhapsody, complete with Mike Myers as a record producer. I had to actually look it up afterwards to see if he was playing the same character. I thought
It's like an invented character in Bohemian, I think, and I'm not sure here. It's very
I was
strange.
wondering if they were trying to set up musical biopic extended universe with that.
I mean, essentially they are, because why else would you do that? It's such a weird thing. He doesn't appear in anything anymore, and then he's in 2 of the same roles in biopics that, like, clearly Bohemian Rhapsody is the formula that these movies are trying to follow.
Yes,
because it made so much money, it was Oscar nominated. And I get it, like I get it. Like if Michael Jackson wasn't such a polarizing, controversial figure, I think this movie would be easier for like a person like me to accept. But also, Mark, I found the things that you think are just like laying the groundwork for the next movie to be like providing excuses for things, which is
that's kind of what I'm implying by.
Well, yeah,
that's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah,
you
like
really want this movie.
The film is loaded with scenes of like showing him visiting sick kids in hospitals, his fixation on Disney, specifically Peter Pan. I really laughed out loud when they cut to the Peter Pan book and it shows Peter Pan and Captain Hook, and then Captain Hook has an arrow pointing to it that says Joe, as if to say, just in case you didn't know, I see myself as Peter Pan, and Joe Jackson is the Captain Hook in this.
Joe Jackson was not a good man or manager. Apparently. Just in case everybody in the world didn't know that.
Very abusive and very, from 9 to 5, he's mine. And even when he was going solo, he was trying to exert his force on him. And like Coleman Domingo, very good in the role. Like it's just stuff you've all seen before. Not that means it's like not true, but anyway. He's also innocently buying toys at a toy store and signing autographs for kids. So, like, even though the allegations never come up, which they shouldn't based on the timeline of the movie, they loom over it as if they're trying to explain away any possible behavior the audience may already be aware of, as if to cut off that conversation before it starts. Like, there are innocent explanations for everything you may have possibly heard. So that just comes off a little, oh my God, this is the Jackson family trying to clear their name sort of stuff. But then, there's things to praise. Jafar Jackson, incredible at becoming his uncle Michael Jackson. Incredible in the role. It's uncanny. He mimics the voice, the moves. He like
the first time he talks, it's jarring.
It's unbelievable.
It's like what? Whoa, okay.
He opens his mouth. You're like, fuck. I'm watching a Michael Jackson movie that is. It feels like you're like a step away from watching like an AI Michael Jackson do it. It's very strange. But he completely embodies Michael, and he deserves praise for that. And the physicality and all the stuff he learned to like actually, he's basically just becomes the world's most impressive Michael Jackson impersonator. But at the same time, the film is like perpetuating, I feel like, the toxic Jackson family legacy that it's depicting and criticizing on screen by just like keeping that money train rolling with this. Like I just can't divorce it from the like meta narrative of the Michael Jackson. My Jackson family is very good at PR and press, and like, this is kind of just a PR thing for them. And I don't know if you knew this, Mark. They were successful in getting Leaving Neverland taken off of HBO Max because of like negotiating with Warner Brothers and shit like that. Like there's just like a nefariousness to it that I can't unshake. But then at the same time, I acknowledge that I was tapping my toe and bopping my head, and that the scenes of just recreating iconic Michael Jackson moments are undeniable, and that you're watching someone do it at a high level. So like it works in those moments, but I can't personally like divorce it from everything else. And I'm very curious to see what a part 2 of this looks like. And I think I am more curious about how they're going to do that now versus what it would have been if it was just one movie and it allegedly opened with the allegation type of thing and then like came back to it. And the benefit is these families all want money from us, and he's innocent, and he was an innocent saint who never did anything wrong except for, the only issue in his life was his foreboding dad, essentially.
Yeah, he never had a chance to grow up because he never had a real childhood because of Joe Jackson pushing him to be. Yeah, that's the myth.
Even the kid before Jafar Jackson, whose name I don't have here, who plays him when he's younger, he's
really good.
Incredible.
Yeah. Yep.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like there's merit to a lot of this. Like it's like well made where it needs to be, and at the same time, like you said, it's so loosely structured. Like it's just there's something crass about that to me, where they're just like, shut up and play the hits, man. Like we don't need it. We don't need a real movie anymore. Like we just need enough. Like recreate the iconic moments enough. Like literally, they just do the Thriller dance at one point. Like it's not like it's built up in any ceremony. They just do it. So I don't know. I don't think
he also stopped LA game violence. We forgot about that.
Oh my God, when he gets the Crips and Bloods together and just like, I love that his plan is just like, get the Bloods and Crips in a room and then just like let them watch me make a music video.
Yeah,
and they'll be
and then tell them like, I'll autograph stuff for you, and then guess what? You'll be in my short film too.
Yeah,
like, that apparently solved everything.
And then like it also gets at like his obsession with his surgeries that he eventually starts doing on his face and his nose, and the movie like just kind of puts that alongside everything else as like a thing he was obsessed with. It's just a weird,
all because of Joe again.
Yeah, because Joe said he made fun of him. Big nose. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. It works where it needs to, but it feels like it's compromised in some way by what happened to it. But maybe you're right. It was at a gift. I genuinely
do not believe that story, that it was very critical of Michael Jackson in the third act. And
no, not critical. It's not that it's critical. It's that it's critical. Oh, it's critical of the families.
Okay, got it.
That,
but why
like
would you?
Victims.
Why?
Because that's what their estate is like. That's their kind of.
Yeah, I get it.
That's what they want to do right now.
Yeah, I understand that, but I just don't understand why they would
put that into a movie. Yeah,
I don't think that's it. I think maybe it's just they realized there's too much. Maybe if it did do that. This is why I don't like talking about behind the scenes stuff.
Well, I know because it's like we're not reviewing the movie.
Speculation. Yeah, it's all speculation, and it's fun to speculate about this.
Yeah,
stuff. But I think
it was like there's like Matt Baloney. I believe he had the script reporting that like it's pretty. We know what it was, but it is what.
If they're gonna make a sequel, it's gonna be just as long as this one. It's gonna cover the next part of his life. And it's going to have most of the songs, and it'll probably cover.
I mean, there are great songs in that era too. Yeah,
there are, and
there's tons more great songs to come.
Yep, I don't know. This one is I don't hate it because you are right. Jafar Jackson is very good.
Like you have to kind of hand it to him on the like.
You really
I know this whole thing is compromised in a weird way, sort of, kind of, if you feel that way. But man, as a greatest hits compilation, like it works.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The biggest problem with it is that it's barely telling a story. It's just showing you exactly what you want to see, which is just Michael Jackson, someone doing a very great impersonation of Michael Jackson, lip syncing to Michael Jackson songs, dancing exactly like Michael Jackson.
I wasn't even
putting
sure.
on a fantastic show.
I he was lip syncing, but like I didn't check the soundtrack to see like if Jackson also.
The soundtrack is credited to all the studio recordings or live recordings, so it has to be lip synced.
Okay, well that makes more sense than he's just also amazing.
Beyond that. Yeah. But beyond that, it's you have to assume if he can do as long as he can sing, if he can do that impersonation, he can probably
do a pretty good job.
I've noticed that people who are really good singers typically do very good impersonations too. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Jamie Foxx is a great impersonator.
That's true. He's hilarious. He's an incredible impersonator. Michael's a huge hit already. I don't know if you saw the numbers. It made almost $13 million yesterday. Like it's huge. I saw like the early projections of like I was almost gonna send out something on social media. I thought this is stupid, but I mean whatever the over under is on whatever anyone's telling you with a projection, go with the over. I really wish it's gonna overperform in ways that somehow people do not realize. You know what it is? It's like it's often black movies. It's movies for black audiences.
That's kind of
happens
again. I was leaving it to the implication, but people in the trays always
every single time, and then they always are amazed when it overperforms.
Yeah, they are,
and it happened so many times, even with Sinners last year, that you'd think they would have corrected by this one, especially when we all saw it coming. Like we all saw that this was going to be huge. I think. I mean, I knew it was going to be huge. It's Michael Jackson. Despite everything, he still commands
globally.
Famous. It made 20 million globally before the 13 I even mentioned. So like it's already it's going to be huge, and part 2 will be officially confirmed by the end of the weekend if it's not already. Like I know it's on screen, it kind of is, but they haven't said like Michael 2 is coming out XYZ. So, and I'm assuming it's got to be called Jackson, right?
That would be good.
It's got to be. What are they going to do? Michael 2? That doesn't make sense. It's got to be Jackson.
We'll figure it out.
I'm with you though. I think we're aligned on it being a 2-star movie with like a lot of like caveat for me context of like this is kind of insidious the way it tries to explain away his behavior that, you know, the next movie is going to get into, probably. I don't know. It's 2 stars is all I have to say, I guess.
Yeah, 2 stars is exactly where I'm at too.
So yeah, there's like merit to some of it. Like it's definitely well made, and like they nailed the assignment of what they set out to do. It's just kind of like it's a matter of if you agree that assignment is worthwhile, I guess. And fans of his will certainly appreciate it, I think. All right, next up, let's talk about Apex. I found this incredibly disappointing, frankly. Charlize Theron, Taron Egerton. It's a survival thriller. It's like a woman hunted in the wild movie, and it's incredibly boring for some reason. Here's the trailer.
You going there alone? I wouldn't recommend it.
I'm trying to get to Grand Isle Narrows.
You want the easy way or the hard way?
The best way.
Think you can handle that?
Yeah, I think I can handle it.
You made it! It's me from the gas station.
Hey.
You having fun?
Something got into my gear last night and took everything.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a drastic bummer. You hungry?
Just kind of looking for that gear.
So look, it's very simple. You've got until the very end of this song to get as far away from here as you can.
What a fun premise. It's such a bummer that the movie is more interested in its like somber metaphor for grief shit that's going on, or it's just not even a metaphor for it's a movie about grief. It's a woman who loses her partner in the opening scene doing extreme shit and then goes off to do more extreme shit and ends up in a deadly game with a serial killer with a very game Taron Egerton, who I'm really enjoying his turn as, I guess, a Netflix villain, because he was also what in Carry On? No, he's the lead in Carry On.
Yeah, he's the
Not
good
a
guy
villain
in
in
Carry On. Yeah.
So nice
Jason
turn here.
Bateman having so much fun. He's like, I want to do that now.
Yeah, and he does it, and he's really fun.
He is, yeah.
It's too bad the movie just like, what's wrong? You agree? I saw it, thankfully. Like, why is this movie so boring? What's wrong with it?
I think it sets up its premise really well, which is, you know, a Most Dangerous Game ripoff, and which is fine. I mean, it's a 100-year-old story. Rip it off as much as you can. It's a great story. So man hunting woman in the wild, and it's pretty good because it's got the Australian rainforest and all these fantastic sights as the backdrop. It looks great for a Netflix movie, especially. It looks really good. It was shot on location. It's a good setup. And then it kind of decides it's not going to be about that. It's going to be about, as you brought up, kind of about grief, but also about digging into the psychology and the backstory of the killer and how. So as soon as it decides it's going to try to go that direction,
boring,
turn into a horror movie, then suddenly you have to get rid of your premise because you can't do that anymore. And it's going to just have the two of them talking to each other in different situations for a while, and it's not as interesting.
And boy, do they talk. They just talk. It's a very talky movie when it should be high octane action. And then when it does like a set piece or an action, it's kind of like unbelievable in its setups. Even then, you're like, why would this happen? Why would this be the way?
The entire climax with the climb kind of recreating. She's redeeming herself from the opening scene.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't get the logistics. I still don't understand the logistics of why it has to go that way, except that the movie has to go that way so that the ending is what it is. It's
you
weird.
solve that, I guess. That's what's going on there, because otherwise it's pretty stupid. It's just, it should be stupid. It should be silly. It's a guy who, they set up the serial killer up top where they're like, there's a lot of bodies in the woods, or like, we're missing a lot of missing girls or something. And you're like, okay, so this is like a serial killer situation. This should be menacing. And for some reason, it just like, it nails the dark humor of it, I guess, in that Taron Egerton's really fun in his having fun with being a bad guy. But otherwise, it just leans into all the wrong things. And it just becomes like, okay, yeah, why is it leaning into like her trauma over her dead husband? Why is it leaning into his backstory? Yeah, you're right. Everything. It's just so. Why aren't you doing the survival in a deadly landscape stuff? Like, why are you doing just boring trauma stuff? I have no idea what this movie was doing. I'm 2 stars on it.
Yeah, I'm at 2 stars too. The really disappointing thing maybe is that it has that great backdrop and it has the setup, and eventually all those action and chase sequences start to become repetitive too. I don't know how many but I think the third time she ends up in the river going down rapids, I thought, "Is this really the best you can come up with at this point?" And I guess it is, because they keep going into the river and going through rough water, and it's like,
Yeah, rough CGI water. Like it's not.
come up with something else.
Yeah, it's just I don't know why this movie ended up being more about internal strife than like the whole plot of it. Like the whole really fun premise you came up with that you
I
seem
think
to
you
not
could
want to use.
I think you could have done it, but I just don't think it explores that. I really do. It really does feel as if the entire grief setup is just to get an excuse to get her to Australia, because you have Eric Bana playing in the opening scene. So that's all it is. It feels like a justification for what the plot is, and so I
Yeah.
didn't really buy that it really cares about grief at all. And
Yeah.
I don't think it really does by the end. So
No, yes, very disappointing because I had high hopes for that. I was like, oh, this Netflix movie might be good. It's directed by the guy who did Everest and Beast.
Everest is good.
I
enjoy
remember I
Everest.
reviewed that when I was writing for Business Insider. That was like a decade ago or something. Yeah, I remember liking that movie.
It's such an interesting thing, because it's not really about natural disasters. It's just about the limits of the human body.
Yeah,
Such an interesting take on the whole thing.
yeah, good movie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw it in IMAX, which was a good choice.
I think I did too.
Hell yeah. I haven't watched it, man. It's been truly a decade, hasn't it? Over the decade. Wow. Anyway, next up, we have Mother Mary. Mother Mary, the latest from David Lowery, who you may know as, what do people know him as? The Ain't Them Bodies Saints guy.
A Ghost Story guy, Pete's Dragon remake.
Pete's Dragon remake, which I have out on Blu-ray from the library right now because my kid thought it looked cool. Green Knight. Green Knight is my favorite, probably. His movies always look good, and this movie definitely looks good, but is that enough? Here's the trailer for Mother Mary.
I hadn't seen you in over 10 years. So, tell me about your new song.
You want to hear it?
Show me. But do it without your music,
Why?
because I don't want to hear it. Oh, okay. Well, I think that's.
This movie gave me nothing. It's about art. It's a metaphor for art, and making it and creation and how you give yourself to it. I don't know. It's just a bunch of gobbledygook. I found it really the most disappointing movie of the year probably so far because I had high hopes from the cast and Lowry alone, and it just gave me nothing.
I really liked the first act, where it's just Anne Hathaway and Michaela Cole going over their past, hashing out what happened between them, trying to figure out where their relationship is at right now. Michaela Cole plays a fashion designer who is exclusively making costumes for Anne Hathaway's pop star Mother Mary, and I really enjoyed that, mainly because Cole is so good. She was also in The Christophers, where she's going up against Ian McKellen and holding her own and doing an incredible job. Here, I think she carries that entire first act. Her performance is so confident, and you understand her character, and just this thing of trying to put on this brave face of, this person hurt me, but I'm not going to show it, and trying to take her through this process of making her understand why it hurt and all of that. It's really good. And then it turns into, I don't even know what, something of a ghost story, something of a metaphor, as he's brought up, about art and and whatever it's trying to say about that, the way that it does kind of take over everything. And there's a lot going on there. It doesn't make much sense, unfortunately. And one of the big shortcomings, I hate to say it, I found all the concert stuff kind of dull. I didn't think the songs were interesting.
Me neither.
I think Hathaway is just kind of, and maybe it's because most of the stuff takes place after she's having her crisis.
Mhm.
I didn't buy her as an international pop star. I didn't think that she had the stage presence. She's really good. She's really good in the barn when it's just the two of them, and she's in crisis and she's trying to figure out what her future is as a person and as an icon and all this stuff. I really did like that stuff, but I didn't buy that this person would be bigger than Taylor Swift or Beyonce at this
Right.
point. I didn't buy that at all.
Which is fine. It's hard for
yeah,
me to
it's-
pull that off. I
it
feel
is. Yep.
you know, that thing you do pulls off making a really good song that is supposed to be a really good song, and like no
Yes.
other movie has done that.
You're kind of right. I can't think of another one that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe like A Mighty Wind has a funny song or something. But like, I don't know. It's really tough to do that, which I don't like hold against it. It's just that I needed more everything. Like it just like decides to set up a good story and then just not finish it is how I felt. Like I'm just like it sets up these characters and their dynamics long, you know, she wronged her in the past. Why'd she leave her? Now she left her high and dry. She wants her back. There's great dynamics and characters here. And then it just becomes truly just like, I can't even explain it. Just like visual.
Yeah, it is so hard to explain.
It's just like visual stimulus. Like it's really nice looking and it's just like wounds and bodies, and it's like all a metaphor for art and like creating it and what you take. I don't know. It's all just such lofty shit. I have to roll my eyes at it. It's probably what most people think when they hear of an art movie is something like this. And like, it pains me that David Lowery, a filmmaker I generally like and think is interesting, he did The Old Man and the Gun as well. People like that one. Oh, I forgot his most recent movie before this was Peter Pan and Wendy, a movie that does not exist because it's a Disney straight to streaming thing. Anyway, I found this to be a bunch of nothing. I'll give it 2 stars because it looks really nice and the first act is good.
Yeah, I'm giving it 2 stars as well, but mostly because of the performances and Cole in particular.
Yeah, she's great.
She's
great.
really good.
If you haven't seen her, like where she became a name, it's because of her show. Well, she had a couple shows. One of them was called Chewing Gum. That was the first one. But her big acclaimed HBO show was called, was it I May Destroy You? Or like something like that is called.
Oh, okay.
Really good. It's like really easy to watch, 6 episodes. It's kind of like heavy, but it's really good. And she's great and announces she's like the writer, director, and star. And she announces herself as a talent with that. And it's been like years since that came out. And then suddenly she's in both these movies at the same time. And it's really nice to see her again because I was wondering where the hell she went because she's very promising, clearly, as an actress. And we haven't even seen her in the big screen of like what she wrote and directed yet. So I'm looking forward to all of the Michaela Cole future. And check out the Christophers, which is in theaters now, which I really liked. And Mark liked also, but not quite as much as me.
You loved it.
I loved it.
I think you said it was your top film of the year at the
at this point. I think it is. It's got everything I love about a movie going on in it, including being directed by Steven Soderbergh. Let's talk about Over Your Dead Body, which all signs point to I should like. Jorma Taccone of The Lonely Island directed it. I believe it's actually written, Mark, by the Pizza Movie guys too. So like
it was. I found that out after the fact.
Yeah, all signs point to I should like this, and I bet you saw that and were like, it makes sense. I like both of these movies. I didn't like this one. I thought it was very off-putting, and that was before it had like the most off-putting scene that really turned me off to it. I found it off-putting from the jump, and we'll talk about it. Here's the trailer for Over Your Dead Body.
Hey, how was it?
It's fine.
I just wanted to cook you your favorite food.
Steak's not my favorite food.
Okay. And what is your favorite food?
Ceviche.
Ceviche? You know what? I'm trying to make it nice for you.
Reasons! Just pretend you're happy.
Please don't do this.
Wakey.
What's going on?
Not much. Having a cup of tea and curious about these. I think you were gonna knock me unconscious, tie me to the bag of rocks you hit the boat, sink me to the bottom of the lake.
That
My
last
boat rocks.
my boat rocks. That last credit there, I think, is the most instructive because I didn't realize they made this movie, and then I watched it. I was like, oh, this is was it 87 North movie, where it's like the John Wick producer company where they just make all those John Wick action forward movies. This movie is a lot more action gore focused than I would have anticipated, which again sounds like something I should be into, but I wasn't into it from the beginning. And then by the time it introduces like the first complication of the plot, I was not like smirking along with it. I was like, oh God, you ran out of runway, so you introduced this other thing. And I wasn't into it. And it's actually a remake of a Tommy Wirkola movie, who, strangely enough, we reviewed one of his American movies, right? Last week or recently? What did he direct?
Thrash.
Oh yeah, he directed Thrash.
Thrash on Netflix, and
But,
the original of this was on Netflix, and I missed it entirely.
What, The Trip? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's not in English, right? I assumed it was.
No, it is not.
Okay.
No. But I missed it entirely, and as soon as I saw it's based, when I saw the credit based on, I'm like, oh man, I wish someone had told me that beforehand.
Yeah,
I would have watched it. There is a nice sense of surprise to this, and that's mostly what I enjoyed about it, is that it does constantly surprise in terms of how it's building up to where it's going. It doesn't cheat with all those surprises either. It's clever in the way that it kind of subtly tells you this is something that might happen. Here's what's going on if you pay attention to these lines of dialogue, and it kind of proves itself by doing these neat flashbacks. So I enjoyed it on that level. So just that sense of surprise means it works for me as a thriller in a very dark comedy. You brought up the fact that it is a dark comedy, and I think we're supposed to laugh and be uncomfortable at a lot of this stuff, and that's kind of the point, is that it's just so Jason Segel plays a guy who's planning on killing his wife, and Samara Weaving plays the wife who figures it out and decides to turn the tables on him. And both of these characters are kind of annoying and irritating and not really likable. And so when it introduces, I don't want to get into it specifically, when it introduces something else, a threat against both of them with even worse people, I think we're supposed to laugh at that and be uncomfortable about
that. We're definitely supposed to laugh
at
it. Yeah, I don't know, I guess it just didn't work for me, because I agree, like I get what they're going for. I wasn't on its wavelength, and then it kept eluding it. It kept like changing what it was every act, which is arguably interesting, but I just couldn't get on board with it. And I feel like it's like a source material problem. What I was going to say earlier, I remembered, is like the scene that I mentioned earlier, alluded to as being like offensive and taking me out of it. Apparently the studio also felt that way, and he like argued to keep it in there, which, like, I don't know why you needed to keep it in there. Apparently it's a centerpiece scene of the original movie or something, but I just found it a little much, and like the juice not worth the squeeze in terms of like what the movie's doing. Although what it amounts to is, Mark, it's just doing the roses, but like taking that further, taking the roses to its like final form of like, okay, they're gonna actually try to kill each other, so it's violent and nasty. Yeah, I don't know, maybe it was just seeing the roses so recently or something, but it just didn't feel like it was onto anything. Maybe I would need to watch it in a better mood, one of those movies. It just didn't click for me at all from the beginning, and I just was kind of like arms folded with it the whole time, and then it kept kind of losing me along the way even further. So I'm 2 stars on it.
I think it works because also the other reason I think it works is that the two main characters are so incompetent at trying to do what they're doing, and that's part of the joke too. And so when they end up facing people who are, and I get it, that scene is uncomfortable and it feels a little out of place just because it's played for laughs to a degree. But I think it is making the point that these people mean business. This other party that is introduced later on, they mean business. These are the guys that you actually do have to worry about, as opposed to our two main characters who threaten to kill each other, and we're going to do this, but they're never going to do anything because they're just bad at it. They don't have it. These guys are, and you need to worry about them. And I think that once it turns into that, it does become more of a thriller, and that's the reason that it does end up functioning and works pretty well. I don't know. It's hard to describe without giving too much away, obviously, but I did enjoy Over Your Dead Body. I'm giving it 3 stars.
Yeah, it's a wacky comedy ultimately that is just like not what I was expecting maybe, and maybe that's what I rubbed up against. But I really just wasn't vibing it from the beginning. Like when they're bickering with each other, I didn't find it like pleasant or funny or like I don't know. I just didn't jive with the humor, which is a surprise considering everyone involved, including Jason Segel, who I love and is great.
I think he's so funny, just
Yeah.
trying so hard to explain away what his plan is.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's gonna go on a hiking trip, and I'm so worried about her. I thought that was really good. You know exactly what his plan is well before
him
he
like
even
walking
comes
around a grocery store bank, basically
Yeah.
telling everybody like, "Hey, my wife's gonna go hike alone this weekend. I keep telling her not to. It's really crazy." Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have. I'm enjoying talking about it more than I was watching it because it's just like off-putting at a certain point. So yeah, 2 stars from me, 3 from Mark. Now we're gonna flip on our disagreement here. Let's talk about Desert Warrior, $150 million Saudi Arabia produced blockbuster. It's set in 7th century Arabia, starring Anthony Mackie and Charlton Copley. Here's the trailer.
It was a legend told for generations. The forgotten warrior and the princess in exile. The land was ruled by fire and blood.
That old man is no longer a king.
We need you to guide us.
Against an empire.
Power was wielded without mercy.
This movie succeeds for me because it's a historical epic, big budget. They don't make them like this anymore. I don't care that it just has Anthony Mackie and Charlton Copley in 7th century Arabia. I love that they put Mackie on the poster and it says Desert Warrior. You're like, this is the Desert Warrior. And the movie's like, not really. He's just another guy. It's not really about him. He could have been excised entirely, and the movie probably doesn't change very much. But you know, as a vehicle to like, okay, they got to put some stars in this to make this movie palatable to American audiences. I don't know. I accept it on its own terms, and I think it's Rupert Wyatt directed it, the guy who did Rise of the Planet of the Apes. What else? The Mark Wahlberg movie, The Gambler. He's a good director, and the movie is beautifully shot, and it has some great images. It has some good action sequences. And I thought the plot was compelling enough, even though I'm sure it's bastardizing some actual story. I thought it was good. I liked it.
I think you hit the nail on the head with saying that Mackie's character could be completely excised from the movie, and it wouldn't change anything. I do think maybe it would be a better movie because his character is clearly just there for the marketing appeal of, we have a movie star in this movie that is mostly filled of Middle Eastern, North African actors telling us a historical story about that region, and instead you highlight Anthony Mackie and his character, who doesn't figure into the plot once the plot gets going. He's kind of there in the background witnessing things happening around him that he doesn't have a part of. He's not really interested in participating in. It's a weird thing. You could tell that story, but the movie isn't interested in telling that story, and so he is just kind of pushed to the side. The story that it's telling could be interesting, I think, but I think his presence in it and the fact that the movie is kind of written around him and it has to figure out how to include him in it doesn't mean it doesn't work.
It's a strange.
It is so weird, and a lot of this is choppily edited. I don't think the action works. I think everything here is edited down so much that you do wonder if they are cutting around the fact that maybe Mackie wasn't in the movie for a bit. They had to shoot. They like call in somebody
who's free right now.
Who's free right now?
Go to Saudi Arabia for a few weeks,
and we'll include the main actors and we'll get them. But it's so weird. I will say at least Charlton Copley, who as soon as I saw him in it, I was waiting for him to do some silly accent. He doesn't do a ridiculous accent, thankfully. But it is also very strange.
Yeah, but him being there is just strange. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have much of a defense to make of it other than like I enjoyed the spectacle of it and thought it was competent enough in the like form part that I was just going along with the ride, and I thought it was like good enough Nothing amazing. I wish they made movies of this size and scale, that weren't Saudi produced and starring actors that don't need to be in them. But it worked. I enjoyed it. I would recommend this movie to people who thought it looked cool. 3 stars.
So you got 3 stars? Okay. Yeah. 1.5 stars for me for
Ooh.
District Warrior.
All right. Fair enough. I feel like that's most of the critical consensus is probably more on Mark's side on that one. And maybe I'm being too kind to this one too. I liked Fuze, the next movie that Mark did not like. I like getting ahead of it for no reason. Here's the trailer for Fuze.
We've got an old bomb in central London.
World War II. Looks like a 1,000-pounder.
I'll see you on the dance floor.
Could it blow any minute?
Theoretically, yes.
This area is being evacuated.
Is there anything out there?
There's nothing going on out here.
We're on.
It's ticking.
Clear! Hard cover! No! Go, go, go!
Mom, look at this. I shouldn't be there.
Fuze, star-studded. It's got Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's got my girl Gugu Mbatha Raw. It's got Theo James. It purports to be a World War II bomb that needs to be, detonated movie that's found somewhere. But it's also a heist movie where maybe that's just a distraction. And I thought it was really cool. And it just delivered on like pure genre exercise, thriller, tense level. I thought it like totally worked, and it's short and sweet. What's your gripe?
My gripe is there's a very specific moment. I don't want to give it away, but there's a very specific moment where the movie changes from what it was doing, which is here's a bomb. We got to figure out what to do about the bomb. Here's how we're going to orchestrate around the bomb, the diffusing of it, the police trying to keep everybody evacuated, and the thieves stealing while everybody is distracted with the bomb, into just sort of twisty, here's a bunch of characters backstabbing each other, and we're going to tell you the backstory of all these characters so you eventually figure out how everything ties together. And it loses that suspense, that inherent suspense of there's a bomb that we have to work around and we have to figure out what to do about. And it just turns into something completely different that is nowhere near as interesting or compelling or dense. That's the big problem with it for me. And I don't think having your big suspense thriller end with a flashback that just kind of explains away everything and how everything started is, I don't think that shows much confidence in terms of like, yeah, we know what we're doing here. We have a good suspense setup here. I don't think that's a good sign for that.
Yeah, I guess it's better at the beginning than it is at the end in terms of suspense, but I thought it was enjoyable enough, and I was like engaged enough with the ticking clock element, combining with these guys are doing a very specific heist, and you're left questioning, okay, well, how did the bomb get there? Like, how did this all happen? And
yeah,
I don't know. I was just totally into it as a pure like brass tacks. This is just doing very basic stuff well, and I thought it was efficient. It's directed by the guy who made Hell or High Water and that movie Relay we talked about last year. People love that movie Startup that he made. David Mackenzie. I don't know. I liked it. It's nothing great. Another just genre exercise, but I don't know. It's like two types of movies coming together, and I feel like it mostly works, even if it has a weird tacked on ending that makes it seem like it's a true story or something when it's not. But I enjoyed it. It's a 3-star movie for me.
It's kind of too bad. I don't want to give away too much. It's too bad because once you realize how everything started and who's involved in doing what, it's so strange that you do take away that element, because there is a level of, I don't want to say too much, but there is a level of tension for a couple of characters here that they know more than they should, or, and if you had kept that going, because it's also investigating why is the bomb there if it's not a World War II bomb. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. I think it just kind of loses its way to because it doesn't know what to do once the big thing happens. So 2 stars for me for Fuze.
All right. Next up, let's talk about I Swear.
John, how are you feeling about starting school?
Nervous.
You'll be fine. Just keep your head down.
Ladies, I dream of a lady in body. A tale that she...
Hey, can't help it! Hey, what is the matter with you, boy?
It's called Tourette syndrome. Say things that I shouldn't.
Smells of spaghetti bolognese. You sure you don't want some?
Oh, I'm okay.
What's wrong with my spaghetti bolognese? Be on the table in 2 minutes.
No, honest.
John? I can sit here, or I can help this lad.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Tommy, this is John. Come to have a chat about the vacant position.
You okay with the ticks and the swearing?
What text was spent?
This is a feel-good, crowd-pleasing film that, you know, surely simplifies a tough condition in certain ways and also uses it for laughs in certain ways. But I think it ultimately has its heart in the right place and works at it, achieves what it sets out to do. And it did win. He won the BAFTA, this actor, over whoever was supposed to win in the Best Actor category over at the BAFTAs. Like, it was a lot of the same people who were nominated for Oscars, and then this guy won. So tell me about it.
Yeah, and it's his Robert Aramayo's first big performance. He's been in a few things. He was near the end of last year. He was in the movie Palestine 36.
Yeah, okay. I never saw that. Okay.
He's good in that. He plays, you know, wicked British officer in that. So he's good in that too. But man, he is astounding here. He is so good playing this role. Based on true story of John Davidson, an advocate for people with Tourette's. The story is really good. It starts with this lengthy prologue, which is really just setting up how this young man, this kid, this teenage boy develops Tourette's, and it's very gradual but not subtle. And he realizes, like, there's something going on with my brain and my body, and I can't control it. It's frightening. You brought up the fact that it plays some of the tics and some of the vocal outbursts for laughs. I think it tries to, but man, after that prologue, I didn't feel like laughing at
No,
anything.
I know. It's tough. It's really tough for a bit.
That first part is so good, and it sets that up so well that you're just that feeling of just being
like the
trapped
family
and,
life and the like second family that comes in essentially.
Yeah. Feeling like unable to escape from just that compulsion to do something that you know is going to get people to look at you in a weird way and to make you feel it's so well done. And I think it tells a really good story about him learning that there are people who do care and that he should tell other people what this condition is like and what it means and get them to start caring and to look at things in a different way. I think it's a really empathetic story that comes through very strongly. And yeah, Aramayo's performance is fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I'm like, I don't know what else we can say. We kind of pretty much said it. I think
the big thing is he's playing the character. He's not playing the condition. That's the big selling point here of his performance, that you could easily just make it about the tics. You could make it about just going overboard with doing that. But instead he's playing this man who does feel trapped and is trying to figure out his way through the world and just wants a life like everybody else's and can't get it and is trying to figure it out. It's so good.
Yeah, and it also feels like a helpful movie for people who, you know, because it's not something you're born with, or maybe some people are, but he wasn't. And it's something that developed and he had to learn how to live with, and other people will be in the same situation. So it's one of those movies that feels like it's important for a certain subset of people potentially to like see this and see themselves in it and maybe get, you know, people might not even know they have it and then realize, oh, I actually have a low level version of that or something. I don't know. I think it's a good movie. It's a strong movie. It's funny. It's very empathetic and sweet and sad. Yeah, it's just like, it's what it needs to be. 3 stars for me.
Yeah, 3 stars for me as well.
All right, and let's talk about Omaha, which we can't talk about why it's the biggest bummer on earth, but it's so good. Here's the trailer for Omaha.
Oh, come on. I need you to wake up now.
What time is it?
I know it's early, sweetheart, but we gotta go. We're gonna go on a trip.
Rags, Here, boy. Where are going?
Pretend that there is a fire in the house and we have to get out as quick as we could. What would you take with you?
The picture of Mom. Did Dad say where we're going? I think we're going to Disneyland.
I can't tell if this movie's evil or smart for doing what it does, but it's very impactful because you already kind of get the gist of what's going on, but it puts a button on it that makes you go, holy shit, that's crazy that's what this movie was. It's tough to talk about, but we can talk about what it's about in the grand sense, I guess.
Yeah, it's a road trip story. Just a fun little road trip story about a family. That's
careful.
No, I know, but that's the way it looks from because it's told from the child's perspective, and so that's what it looks like. The kids don't know what's going on. They're just along for the ride. They're there and they're trying, like, oh, dad apparently lost his job. We lost the house. Their mother died. He's doing the best that he can, and they just assume because he's their father, they're heading off on the road, heading towards Nebraska to do something, and we're along for it too. It takes place in 2008. There's a couple of signs of it in the background, just like campaign signs and everything, so you know where it's at. The financial crisis is going on. That people are hurting, and that this guy and this family are among those people who are hurting, and so it adds that level to it. But you're right. Once you realize what's going on here, it
doesn't tell you until it's over. Which isn't again, you get it because we're not stupid and it is what the movie's about for sure. At the same time, fuck.
Yeah.
And
John Magaro is so good.
He's so good as this father who is at the end of his rope and is trying to be there for his kids, but he clearly doesn't have any money and is trying to it's almost, what's that movie, Life is Beautiful, where they're in the hall, they're in a concentration camp, but the dad's trying to keep it light and fun. It has that same energy of their situation is bad, but dad's on a road trip with them, trying to make it seem like it's better than things are. It's just tough stuff. It's just like a slice of life look at someone who has kids who feels like he can't give them the life that they deserve and what that looks like in actuality. And oh man, people will understand what we're talking about when you see it, and it reveals itself to be what it's about, a very specific thing, and it wallops you. It's a 3-star movie that I recommend highly, even though it's not a pleasant experience.
It is not, but 3 stars for me as well. And the young actress, Molly Bell Wright, who plays the daughter, she's really good because the character's of that age where she kind of can recognize that something's wrong, but she can't put it into words and she can't quite recognize it. And she really portrays that well.
Did you know that she's in a movie we're going to review next week?
I did, because I think I watched it.
I watched it last night also. Yes. I was like, oh my God, is that what a range she has.
Yeah.
To be in this good movie and then also a shark movie.
Yeah. Which we will not talk about the quality of because we will be reviewing that next week. But
correct.
Yeah, she's in Deep Water too.
Yeah, that's right. Deep Water, the latest film from Rennie Harlan. It is not a part of the Strangers universe. Thankfully.
We could, you know what? I think it's safe to say it is better than the Strangers
movie.
I think it is easily safe to say it's better
easily
than
the best of the last 3 to 4 Rennie Harlan movies. Yeah, fair enough. You said 3 stars as well for Omaha?
Yeah, 3 stars for me on Omaha.
Okay, so I think it's recap time.
It is. Do you need it?
I can do it. Okay. Let me try to do it from memory here. Michael, 2 stars from both of us. I'm gonna go on. I don't know the order we did it. It's different than the one on your website where I'm looking. So hold on.
Here, let me. Here, I'll just send it to you just because it is easier that way.
Okay.
I know it's a mess of text, but
no, it's okay. I'll go to the chat where it's gonna be.
You know, if we're talking, let me just try to.
Yeah, let me.
Oh no, it doesn't even let me add paragraph breaks. Thanks.
Oh, it's okay.
Thanks, chat.
Okay, Michael, 2 stars from both of us. Apex, 2 stars from both of us. Mother Mary, 2 stars from both of us. Over Your Dead Body, Mark 3, me 2. Desert Warrior, Mark gave 1.5 stars. I gave 3 stars. Fuze, 2 stars from Mark, 3 stars from me. I Swear, 3 stars from us both. And Omaha, 3 stars for us both. So that was simple enough. We're in alignment most of the time this week. You said there's a lot of YouTube comments.
There were a lot, yeah.
Okay,
on
let's
last
see.
week's. It was a big episode last week.
It was.
At least I don't know what happened. Lee Cronin's The Mummy was a
Lee
bigger.
Cronin's The Mummy, man. People are interested. People said regarding last week's episode, regarding Lorne, I have heard. Oh, we already read that one actually. Here, The End of Time Travel says, I believe in the 90s, a Colombian football player made a mistake costing the country the World Cup, and he was murdered not long after, in response to our review of Balls Up, in which I said, perfect fodder for comedy. And they replied, it may be the dumbest fucking idea any screenwriter has ever come up with. I got to agree.
I would also say that, was it 30 minutes or less, about the real guy with the bomb strapped to his neck who died?
Yeah, that's a tough one too.
As a comedy, that was a tough sell too.
Yeah, really strange. Jesse Eisenberg vehicle with Danny McBride and somebody else. I don't remember. Nick Swartzen, maybe? I don't remember. Nelson said, no review of the new thriller War Driver with Dane DeHaan and Sasha Calle. Pretty solid thriller in the vein of something like Relay. Hadn't even heard of it.
Yeah, I looked it up. That came out a couple weeks before then. Apparently, I don't even.
It happens.
You know what it was? It was a digital release. That's
Got
why
it. We do skip those generally, or they miss our radar sometimes.
If we did the direct to video on demand stuff, it would be
the dregs, dude.
We would never do anything else in our lives. So.
Yeah, that's fair. And there is another movie that I happened to watch this week because I have a great local library that gets new releases every Tuesday, and I happened upon a movie called Frontier Crucible that I don't know if you were aware of, that I hadn't been aware of. Okay, you maybe skipped it for several reasons, one of which being it's the Army Hammer comeback vehicle. It was produced by Dallas Sanier, who is a bad person who has allegations against him or whatever. Anyway, the reason I watched it is I Googled this movie and realized it was written by S. Craig Zoller, a filmmaker I enjoy, but he wrote it uncredited. And it's a Western. And it was halfway good, very much a S. Craig Zoller movie, and has insane violence in the final minutes. It's just like a lesser bone Tomahawk, though. So hard to recommend Frontier Crucible, but if you're into that sort of thing, it's kind of good. And it's on Blu-ray.
I knew about it. And the reason I missed it is actually because it came out, I think, right at the end of last year. I was a little busy with everything else going on that I somehow missed the email that offered me that actually said, we'll get you, here's a screener or something. I might actually have had a screener. I don't remember. I missed it somehow.
I completely missed it. I had no idea it existed. It's got Tom Jane and William H. Macy, and there's another actor in it. It's the lead two people are really bad, and then the other actors around them are all good. It seems like Tom Jane produced it and wanted to work with S. Craig Zoller is what happened. But it's cool, almost.
I will look for it at my local public library.
Yeah, take a look. My library I'm obsessed with it. It just got built. Like, I know they had one already, but I just moved here, and then since I moved here, it was like out of service because they were building it, and now it's here, and they have they get Criterion every week, like every month. They get the new Criterions. They really get everything. And they have I have Pragmata on hold, the new PS5 game.
Oh, like, so excited to try that out.
Yeah, like they have I'm never gonna buy a game again. Like, why would I? This is great news for my life. Anyway, YouTube. I don't know what it is. This is Acquired Takes one. I don't know what it is, but I've loved all of Lee Cronin's movies. I can't argue with your quibbles with. I agree on some of them, but there's something so mean about his movies that does get under my skin. I had a blast with Rise and The Mummy, even though they are very similar. Fair enough. I understand that. Like, I want to like it, and I just can't understand why. Oh, I forgot another movie we didn't see. Consider yourself, this is Carey Mulligan, big fan of the show. Consider yourself both lucky for not watching Bus Boys, an abysmal David Spade comedy that somehow got a theatrical release. It feels like something the Daily Wire would make, because the whole joke seems to be we're being offensive and it's funny, but it's not offensive or funny. Instead, just lazy and try hard. It reminded me of something Ebert said, and maybe it's not his exact words, but to say the film is the bottom of the barrel would be offensive to barrels. Anyway, I'd still say Night Patrol continues to be the year's worst film. Night Patrol, now streaming on Shudder, but I don't recommend it. I don't think Mark does either.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It's not good.
Yeah,
and Carey
Bus
Mulligan
Boys,
really doesn't recommend it.
Bus Boys, I saw that was going out. They did not.
Self-funded, yeah.
Self-funded, self-distributed. I think even they did
Yes.
not offer the opportunity for critics to see it,
No.
obviously. And last week was a little busy.
It was
so
busy. Maybe another week I would have
Didn't
rolled out
get-
to the
yeah.
theater to see the David Spade comedy, but I
just
don't
out
know.
of curiosity.
Yeah.
But yeah, last week was not going to happen.
Ed Douglas said, great episode, no notes, no jokes. Really impressed that you got 13 movies and glad you were able to check out Amram and Mad Bills to Pay, since I know both are doing a slow rollout and many people might not be aware of them. Thanks. Thank you for listening. Leonard Lopez, this is worth mentioning. He said he's seen a good amount of people, including myself, rate and review the Speed Racer re-release on Letterboxd. So maybe you should talk to Mark about it. Are you famously do you not like that movie?
I don't like that movie.
Okay. Boo, first of all.
Yeah, sorry.
I did go see it in IMAX in 4K, and it was it's a 5-star movie for me. I love it. It's a 4-star movie for me for the show's purposes. I do think it's incredible, and it was great to see in a theater. It packed theaters across the country for one day, and that was nice because that movie bombed miserably. So thank you for pointing that out, Leonard Lopez. I hope people who wanted to see it got to see it, because it's gone. But it will be on 4K in a month, and I did pre-order that as well. Leonard Lopez has a very long screed here. Let's see what he says. I decided to watch the Super Mario Galaxy movie on Tuesday the 22nd, and Jesus Christ, you and Mark were way too generous with your 2.5 star out of 4 ratings. This movie did not even attempt to tell any kind of story, and whenever it tried to create an arc for the characters, it gets dropped very quickly. The pacing is so fast, nothing is allowed to set in before the next set of action sequences come, and the film is far too reliant on cameos and references to not just Mario games, but to all Nintendo games, to where the experience felt nauseating after a while. Only Bowser Jr. was able to come out of the movie unscathed by being an even more intimidating villain than Bowser. How do you think this was better than the first film? At least the first film had said some semblance of a clear plot, albeit a very simple one. The character arcs for Mario and Luigi were actually completed instead of being dropped halfway through the movie, and even the references were kept limited to only the Mario games instead of other games that have nothing to do with Mario. And I thought Disney's Wish was nothing more than a visual Easter egg hunt. This is fan pandering and Easter egg filmmaking at its very worst, and I found it to be on the same level of awful as the Five Nights at Freddy movies, and that is a terrible sign that your movie is on the same level as those embarrassments. 0.5 star out of 4 for me, or 1 out of 5 Yoshi eggs. Definitely one of the worst films of the year. Great scale, by the way, of having 4 stars, but also 5 Yoshi eggs. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with you. I mean, it's not a good movie, but I do think it's better. Why did we think it was better?
I thought it was better just because it's more about the worlds and exploring these different locations, because it's, Mario Galaxy, it's about going to different planets. I found the first Mario movie kind of dull, just because it is trying to get a story into it with a routine formulaic plot. The sequel is more about the stuff that the games are about, which is going to different places and doing a lot of different action. It just felt more in the spirit of the games to me, and I had some fun with some of the sequences and seeing all these different things. Yeah, the cameos and all of that stuff are a bit too much, but
Yeah,
I think we agreed on that. It's cool to see Fox McCloud and to hint at the potential. I know they're not going to make an anime Star Fox movie, although
animated movie. Yeah.
I would watch that in a heartbeat if they did it.
Yeah.
That beyond the fact that, just that's what I'm doing is watching movies in general. It's something I would want to watch.
Yes.
But it does feel weird in a Mario movie to suddenly introduce Star Fox. But
yeah,
I can't disagree with the points, but I also think just focusing on the plot in a movie that is based on a game that's about going to different worlds, maybe not quite.
Yeah, not what it's going for. Right.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that. It just, I still didn't like it. Neither of us recommended it, to be fair.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, we were both on the fence about it, but
he really hated it. So that's Leonardo Lopez's take. Leonardo Lopez, excuse me. I always say it wrong. Okay, I think that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with, let's check Mark's website and see. Is it Andy Serkis that made this? The Animal Farm?
Yep.
Andy Serkis directed an Animal Farm movie based on the George Orwell text. Do you think it gets as heady as the text, or is it just going to be a kids movie?
We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out together. We got The Devil Wears Prada 2. We got the Rennie Harlan plane crash shark movie. We've got the new Damian McCarthy horror movie called Hokum with Adam Scott. We've got the RZA directed kung fu movie or something. One Spoon of Chocolate. Hoping they send me that. And everything else sounds weird. So it's not worth mentioning. Swapped, something on Netflix, an animated movie. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.